This video is powered by Notre Dame Club of East Africa, a conversation with Notre Dame alumni and friends. Listen, connect, and challenge.
Good afternoon to the East Africans and others in that time zone. My name is Rosette Morrisson, and I obtained my MA in International Peace Studies in 1993. So this is part of the marking of the 30-year mark of what I consider a huge achievement that has shaped, guided, and really meant a lot for me and my career. Those of you who know me very well would appreciate that asking me to share experiences of 30 years within half an hour is almost a punishment. But I'm going to try and do my very best. As I was preparing for this exercise, I received something that was going round, making rounds on social media. So I thought that it aptly summarized what I need to share. So today I want to talk about how daring to do sometimes what is the impossible has been a guiding point. Daring to be yourself. Daring to challenge the status quo. Daring to challenge evil and crime has not been sometimes easy, and yet it is very important and very necessary. One of the things which is really key is knowing who you are and why you do what you do. When I applied to go to the Peace Institute, my initial application was declined. And I wrote a letter and I asked why, and they told me it is because I did not have a Bachelor of Science a Bachelor of Arts in Social Sciences. And I said, but I had a Bachelor of Laws, and it was important for me that I could do this. I had left university and I had found that law was not helping me to get what I needed, but law was helping me to at least do what I had to do. So I had been doing a lot of peace work with the Mennonites, and that had really helped me to do the work that I was doing. So I convinced the management and I was admitted. In my first year, we lived in what we called the Peace House. The Peace House constituted 14 individuals from many different countries. And it was not long before I discovered that many of the conflicts that we have worldwide could be dealt with differently if we indeed dealt with the individuals. And that brought home to me the importance of each one individual and the role that we play in managing and reducing conflict, in defending human rights, and in promoting human rights. So when I graduated, I came out with that insight of what being you who you are means in peace building. And who was I at the time? I was coming from a broken background because I was 7 when I witnessed my father being bundled up, thrown in the boot of a car, and driven away. And he was not supposed to have returned, but miraculously, although he entered the slaughterhouse, he came out alive. I was coming from a country that had been ravaged by war. I was in my second year at university, in law school, when the current regime took office, but that followed a very serious war. And I remember quite at university going around trying to distribute food under the Christian Union, and that wasn't easy. So I had to find a balance, and I decided that I would combine my legal training, the peace building techniques that I had learned, together with my faith, because I have a living faith, and that I would use to do my work. So after my MA, I went on to law school and I did an LLM. And when I graduated, I was one of 2 recipients of the Heisberg fellowships, and I was sent to the United Nations International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia. That was the time when I thought I had confronted evil. Reading the testimonies, listening to the testimonies, reviewing the testimonies, and preparing indictments brought me face to face with what I thought was really very painful, unimaginable crimes that are committed in this world. How was I to make a contribution? I also discovered very easily and quite clearly the pervasiveness of racism, sexism, and lots of prejudices that exist out there. And to my disappointment, because I grew up thinking that the United Nations was the ideal, perfect institution, but I discovered that those issues do also exist within the UN. And then I started realizing that the adage charity starts at home comes into play. So my first issue that I want to talk about was daring. It took a lot of daring to go to Rwanda in 1995, as I did. Of course, it was exciting in some way because I got paid. I got appointed as a legal officer within the United Nations system. But goodness gracious me, nothing could have ever prepared me for the challenges that I was to encounter. Going around the country, meeting the victims and survivors of the genocide, recording testimonies from them, supporting them through a process that is so painful, reliving those experiences when you are trying to make sense of it and prepare an indictment was horrific. So we passed through that stage. We managed to have the first indictments. We came to the stage of trying to bring the witnesses to testify. That is when I encountered the most painful experience. I was on a flight with 8 witnesses. It was the very first flight. I had had each witness kept separate from the other. And as we approached, we were in the VIP lounge, we approached the tarmac, we had to go in a car. One of the witnesses walked to me and he said he didn't want to go to testify anymore. He was the youngest of the witnesses called by then. And I asked him, why don't you want to come all of a sudden? And he said, I don't want to go. I'm not going. We already on the tarmac. And so the others boarded. And then the lady came to me and said, It is because of me. The lady was 68. She was the eldest. So I somehow persuaded the other witness and we all entered the plane. When we got to the plane, the lady called the young man and made him sit on her lap, got out her breast and gestured to him like a mother feeding a baby. And then she said to him, "I forgive you." I very soon found out, because I had taken the statement of both of them, what was going on. The 68-year-old woman, grandmother, had been gang raped by young people. And it then dawned on me that I had on that flight one of the boys who had actually sexually assaulted this woman. It was horrific. From prison, he was in prison. And when the lady said to him, I then thought I had done my work. And if I retired, I had witnessed the most incredible act of forgiveness. How could this 68-year-old woman embrace this boy? She said to him, "I give you my breast because you are my son. I have forgiven you." That was the start of the trials. It was very moving for me. As we continued with the trials, I was to see so many acts of the same nature. But then I also realized that within as we did the work, there was a lot of aggression, I dare to say. The desire for people to be promoted, the desire for people to shine at the expense of others, the ambition of some people made it almost impossible to work. So in around 1997-98, an investigation was conducted by the Office of Internal Oversight Services of the United Nations. This is an internal organization that it's an oversight mechanism that looks at the activities of all United Nations organs to see if they are acting properly. And I was called to be a witness. Something unusual had happened. We used to receive money which was intended for the victims and witnesses for facilitating their clothes, so that they could be presentable in court. This money used to be kept with the cashier, but all of a sudden, one of my colleagues had made arrangements for the money to be put in his account, and then it would come out of there. Of course, this was fraud. And when I was questioned, I testified and I gave details of what I knew. This was daring. Little did I know that I was making myself a whistle blower. And little did I know that that would characterize my entire career with the United Nations. Daring to speak the truth, daring to challenge evil, daring to report evil when you see it is not a popular endeavor. I was demonized. I never had a promotion. I was given very important roles, but these individuals made sure that I never, ever received a promotion until much later when they had left the tribunal. It is so shocking because the report later came out, found them guilty. In fact, one of them was described as a thief and someone who should never hold a high office within the United Nations. But as I speak, this person holds one of the highest offices within the United Nations and in one of the most important institutions. That was very, very difficult. What else do we need to work with when working for peace? We need to pair up. This is not a journey that you cannot walk alone. You need to identify who can work with you. It is impossible to go it alone. Seek out like-minded individuals. But when doing this, remember to be wise, knowing that there is a lot of treachery out there. There's a lot of betrayal. People will smile with you at your face. When you turn your back, they'll get out the dagger. People will appreciate you and say nice things about you. But sometimes they are not genuine. Identify the weak among your staff if you are managerial, if you're a manager. Support them, train them, teach them, create them into formidable performers. That helps you, that sustains you. In your time of danger, there will be the people to come out and defend you. In law school, we are told to presume innocent people who are accused until they are proven guilty. And it is a principle that we recite and talk about every day. But you can never, ever know the magnitude of that statement, that principle, until you find yourself in a situation. In 2002, I had friends that I thought were friends, colleagues that I thought were good. I was a manager, I was a supervisor. I gave them opportunities to train, I encouraged them, I built them up, and I thought I was doing a fantastic job. But one of them was bribed by, one of the officials I talked about who had stolen money. And he filed a complaint about me, accusing me of racism, prejudice, and all sorts of things. When I was summoned, actually I was formally indicted with misconduct under the UN rules. And I took the plane and I went to New York to stand a trial for racism. I will never forget the moment when the representative of the Secretary General asked me to raise my hand and repeat the Solomon Declaration, that what I was going to speak about was the truth and nothing but the truth. When I thought about that and the indictment and the lies that had been told about me, I almost failed to speak. And tears just rolled down my cheeks. Then the principle of presumption of innocence sank down in me. By the time I am managing trials like that of the former president of Liberia, Charles Taylor, by the time I am dealing with plea bargain witnesses who had admitted having been part of the ostracization of the genocide in Rwanda, especially one who is described as in Brigadier Romeo's book, he talks about shaking hands with the devil. The person described as the devil, I had to spend 2 months as registrar with him giving evidence. And as he testified during the breaks, as either I got food for him or facilitated him, he would call me and say, "Sister, how was my testimony?" And in my heart, I'm thinking, seriously? Do you really think I am your sister? At the time, that was before But now, after being falsely accused, I could understand and I could respond differently and say, well, maybe there is a chance that he's innocent. But it is not easy. So you have to be wise, even as you are pairing up with people, because at the end of it, they may not be everything that you think they are. The other issue that I wanted to share with you is about caring. You have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself. Those people who know me know that I love to eat. I love to make parties. I love to have fun. And I love to invite people and to do things, to try and put aside the burdens of this world. Take care of your families, because at the end of the day, that is the most important possession that you have and your life. Take care of your colleagues. Be there for each other. When they are going through a difficult time, stand by them. Today, it is you. Tomorrow, it can be them. So support them and look after them. Find something strong that you can use and build your resilience on it. In my case, my resilience, I know that what I'm doing is not only good for humanity, it's not only good for the world, but it pleases the Lord God whom I serve. Find something. You have to care about what you do. You have to care about the people you serve. Sometimes I went on missions. For example, when I was deployed during the Arab Spring in Libya, sometimes I looked at people, I heard comments, and I wondered why people are part of the mission. You have to care. Empathy is not taught in law school. Forgiveness is not taught in law school. But unless you care about the people, for example, the victims of the most horrible crimes in the world, you cannot work for justice. Unless you care about human rights, the people who's about human rights violations. So have a passion. Only do that which you care about. And love. Love yourself. Love your neighbors. Love your family. Love your colleagues. I am guided by Romans 12:18. That's a biblical quotation. It says, if it is possible on your part, live at peace with everyone. I'm very controversial, no doubt. I always speak my mind, and that has many times landed me in real deep trouble. What you see is what you get of me. Not everyone likes that aspect. I'm glad I have lived a lot of time within the Netherlands, because in the Netherlands, people are very straightforward and they speak out the truth. That is an attribute that grief. It has caused me a lot of pain. But it has also served me well, because people who know me know that when you are dealing with Rosette, what you see is what you get. I don't like to be fake. I can't pretend to be someone else. Although, as one of my mentors, the ambassador of Uganda to the Benelux countries, Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg, is always training me to be a diplomat. I have learned a lot from her. I am learning to be a diplomat. Even when I have to tell the truth, I am learning to put it in an envelope of love and care. So don't stop where you are. You'll be pleased to hear that I have been doing my PhD. When I came from Notre Dame to The Hague, I was doing my PhD. I put it off. And every time when I start working on it, there is a more interesting project and I put it off. But you must never tire to improve yourself. It is very important. And I tell you, I promise you, I'm going to finish my PhD. It's a record time. I think I should be entered in the world record of for having the longest PhD, because it's now 20-something years. I think it is 25 years that I've been working on it. And I've changed the topics so many times. But my aspiration is still to finish it. So don't get tired. Keep working and remember that what you do is important. Remember that peace starts with you. Remember that what we do here, we can always do. Guys, I have to reach. The sky is the limit. No one should stop you. And once you are persuaded and you are convinced with that, you keep trying. If they try to put you, as long as you are doing your work perfectly well, people will say all sorts of crap about you. But if you are proper, full of integrity, hardworking, impeccable in your work and contributions, you are loving, you are sharing, you've got it together. You have nothing to worry about. The truth eventually comes out. I think I'm going to stop here because I'm sure that you have a lot of questions, and I said to myself I would leave 10 minutes. So thank you very much. I am open to questions.
Thank you so much, Rosette. Actually, we have exactly 10 minutes remaining. I don't know how you timed yourself, but thank you so much for sharing the nugget. I'm going to open the floor for questions. Any questions? I'm sure people have questions. Just unmute your mic and feel free to ask. I like the spiritual angle that you brought in, be as gentle as a dove, but as wise as a serpent, by all means, try to be at peace with all men. Yeah, that was very powerful. Thank you so much. Yes, Judy?
Well, thanks so much, Rosette, for your speech. My question is, I think when thinking about you and your trajectory in your career, you've spoken about daring and you've been visibly, out there, sort of challenging status quo in what you're doing. Even thinking about your last year when you were vying for one of the top posts. My question to you is, what is your process of working through the things you want but don't get? And I ask only because from where I stand, you do achieve what you set out to do, but with every force, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So for the things you strongly go out for because you want them, and you want to make a difference in that space, how do you think through if they don't work out?
Thank you very much. The first thing is, talking about jobs, I never ever apply for a job unless I'm 110% sure that I'm qualified for it, I'm capable of doing it, and I'm the right fit for the job. When I went for the registrar job, there was only one other candidate who had acted in that job.
Yeah.
How do I get through the disappointment? Was I heartbroken? I was devastated. Why? they ended up taking a candidate who did not have the required educational requirement.
Yeah.
The job advert was very clear. It said an advanced degree in one of the following fields. He did not have an advanced degree. It said a minimum of 15 managerial experience. At most, he had 11, but if you take out, were questionable. And so when he was announced to be the successful candidate, I was heartbroken. I was devastated. However, I held my head high. Why? I performed well at the interview because the interview was competence-based, and they only asked questions that you could only answer if you had done the job. And I knew that only 2 of us had done the job. So I then comforted myself that it was not about me, but there was a bigger power out there, probably called politics, international politics, that had taken charge. So once I know that I have given it my very best and it is not all about me, I'm at peace. I let go. And I let God to take charge and maybe open another door, which could be bigger and greater.
True.
And that helps me.
Makes sense. And
But I also have
I
have a good family. I have very good friends. And at that level, you also have to have the government had supported me. They had recommended me. They had presented me at the Assembly of States Parties, and I couldn't ask for more. So I was at peace and rested in that. And I let go. And 5 years is not long. 1 year is already gone. And 5 years I'll be back and I'll be going for it.
And we'll support you greatly. Continue supporting you. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
You just answered my question. I was going to ask, like your plan moving forward, but you said in 5 years you're going back again. So we wish you all the best in that. Any question from the audience? Feel free to unmute your mic. Question or comment.
But if there is no more question, I want to encourage you to aspire to join international organizations. The journey may not be rosy, but it is very, very important that we have the right people who have the right qualification, right attitude within these international organizations. Then we can mentor others, and this is how we'll change the world. A wave starts with a little drop, and it makes ripples and waves, and it grows. This is how I look at it. I look at life from the perspective of me doing my little thing, and then helping others to work with me. It's a kind of Harambe approach. Together we can achieve life. We can achieve much.
Ubuntu
Wonderful.
Also.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So I think if we don't have any more questions, then since you're in the group, your contact is in the group, anyone who wants to do a follow-up can always reach out to you via your inbox on WhatsApp. But thank you so much for your time. Juhi, do you have anything to say before we close?
Absolutely. Yes, I'll just echo what is in the chat, which is, thank you so much for sharing your insights and also sparking our hearts with that energy of daring to dream and daring to achieve. Very engaging. Thanks for also sharing some of the parts of your life, that really were turning points for you. So yes, we appreciate those stories and the passion and the experiences. And I think also striving for excellence and, not limiting our scope to working just in our locations, even if it's important, but to think more globally. So thank you for that. And we'll be welcoming you back in the future, Rosette. And also thanks for working with us in this club. So we're very much together, and it's been invaluable. Thank you, and thanks to John Morrisson.
And my son also has joined Neil. Neil, that is my son. My only son in whom I'm very pleased. Yeah.
So we all thank you for exemplifying also the role of family in being our support as we walk in our journeys. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate this. And please keep dreaming, keep working hard, keep aspiring. The sky is the limit. I am busy at the moment with consultancies, and I don't allow to be taken down. No. Keep looking up and keep being a Notre Dame performer.
Oh yeah, we agree.
Go Irish.
Oh yeah, yeah, go Irish. Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for sharing with me my 30 years.
Much appreciation. Thank you.
Yeah, 30 years since I graduated in peace studies. It's really been important for me, and it has been a major part of my life and my story, my career. Thank you.